Good morning, weary travelers. I'm coming at you today with a shoe review, but these shoe reviews that are going to be coming up are specifically geared toward people dealing with Hallux Rigidus, Hallux Limitus, big toe arthritis, those type of things. Maybe even applies to folks with bunions. So I have early stage of that, big toe joint arthritis, hallux rigidus is what my podiatrist is calling it. And well, first I'll just say, that impacts, it's that first joint of the big toe. It kind of um, limits the range of motion eventually, totally stops it and causes a lot of pain in that joint. It can be, a lot of times it's from just kind of an overuse, repetitive use injury. Some, there may have been some trauma to that area. There may have been some mechanical abnormalities to your gait, but I won't go into the details for myself specifically, other than at this stage it's mild. There are some bone spurs. It does cause me, unfortunately, some low-level pain pretty much all the time at this point. But one of the ways to help it, potentially reduce that pain, keep you potentially able to walk, is, depending on who you ask, is to get stiffer soled shoes, get wide toe box shoes, and get rockers soled shoes. And the shoes I have been looking at today are Altras. This is the Via Olympus on the left in white with red stripe, and the Via Olympus 2 on the right in blue, which is the latest version. And these actually kind of check all three of those boxes. So a lot of those times you'll find a shoe that will be stiff sole, but it might be flatter, or it might not have that wide toe box. So I'm not sure if this may be the Goldilocks shoe or shoes for some people. I'm not sure if it's going to be for me, but I'm getting ready actually to send the Via Olympus 1 back, and I'm probably going to get it in a blue color to try, but I'm just wearing them around the house at this point to see how they fit. So they're very similar shoes. Altra says that they are zero drop. So that means um, normally that's the heel drop. So from here to here on most shoes, there's a little bit of a higher heel than there is the forefoot, but on the Ultras it's pretty flat. So that will put a little bit of stress on your Achilles if you're not used to it. So you're going to want to ease into that. I'm one of those people that has tight calves, hamstrings, Achilles, which is another thing I'm working on. But so if I do keep these, I'm going to have to kind of ease into wearing them. But they have a nice, this is their original fit. And both of these, you can see, have these kind of wide, just use this one for now. The forefoot kind of looks like a foot, actually, like your toes. It reflects how a lot of feet look. So it's a nice wide toe box. Um, and it narrows toward the back, so it doesn't have this huge wide heel. For me, that feels really good. Actually, with both these shoes, just if I stick my feet in, they feel pretty comfortable. Another thing I'm using to deal with the hallux rigidus, however, is putting a spacer between my big toe and the other toes while I'm wearing shoes to kind of nudge that toe to the left a little bit, and that seems to help with pain. So that obviously makes your feet splay wider, and some people even recommend using like correct toes or toe spacers in your shoes, and that's going to make your toes, spread apart, so they're going to take up more room in the toe box. I've actually been able to do that in both of these shoes, but the Via Olympus 2, the blue one, has a slightly wider feel to it, even though they look to me spot on the same. The other thing, and you'll see if you read reviews of this, a lot of people write that the Via Olympus 2 is much better because it's a softer shoe. And what I will say is that the inside cushioning on this shoe is firmer, and the overall shoe is firmer. So some people see that as a downside, but in the Hallux Rigidus world, this could be definitely viewed as an upside, potentially. So this is a really stiff shoe. And when I say stiff, I mean like when you try to bend it, the amount of force it takes to just get a little bend in the toe box is a lot. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm pushing pretty hard. It's barely moving. They now make carbon fiber plated running shoes, and I've seen people say that this is on par with that in terms of the stiffness of the sole. But the actual cushioning inside too is pretty firm. So when you're standing on it, it's not like a rock, but it's definitely like, for looking at how thick this is, you would think, oh, it's going to be squishy, soft, and it doesn't have that feel when you're in it. So that's something to consider. I think for me, the other thing is how this upper section is the upper is kind of a mesh, soft, so has a little bit of stretch. The tongue is a little funky feeling. I got to say, I have high arches, and it kind of puts a weird pressure on my arch. But even though they look identical, this Via Olympus 2 actually just sort of feels better. But this shoe is a little softer, so it still has a pretty darn rigid sole. Like, you have to push pretty hard, but it's a tiny bit, I would say, fractionally softer than that, but noticeably. And then inside, it's much softer. So it does have more of that squishy feel when you're wearing it, and kind of that marshmallow feel. It's not as much as like some Hokas and stuff I've tried, but um, probably for just general, like if you're just standing, I would almost definitely give the nod to the Via Olympus 2 in terms of comfort. Walking around, it's going to depend. This is where I was going to say, try these things on. I'm using Amazon Try Before You Buy right now with these, and I'm going to send them back because I do want to try another color, but I'm also leaning toward these as my keepers. Um, but with Hallux Rigidus, everyone's going to be really different, and you're just going to want to try the shoes and see. I found some people with more advanced arthritis are going to want that real stiff feel. They're not going to want any cush, because when there's cushioning inside, your foot kind of settles, and it can cause that joint to bend up more as you walk. Even if the outer sole is stiff, you're inside, it's moving more. That can be a factor. Um, they're not honestly my favorite shoe to look at. I mean, they're not horrible. I don't like these I guess they call them high stack shoes, or max cush shoes, or whatever, with these thick soles. I'm already a tall guy. Um, just don't love the look of them. That said, like, I don't hate them either. They're kind of decent colors. This is sort of a cream, but it comes in a blue also. And because it's an older model, still available. I think it ended in last year, but you can still get them, and they are probably going to be a little bit cheaper. I can't remember what I paid, but I feel like they were in the $100 range. Not terrible. And I don't know how they're going to hold up long term. I've only owned, before I had the Hallux Rigidus diagnosis, I had one other pair of Ultras. It was a Torin. I was still using them, but they were just showing some wear on my on the bottom of the sole a little bit. But I would expect these to be kind of similar to any sort of running shoe, tennis shoes. And they're said to be pretty heavy, but that's coming. A lot of these reviews you're reading are going to be from like real runners, and so I'm not that. I'm just, even before this, I was barely running at all, and now I was kind of at a point where I was mostly walking and hiking and cycling. So for me, these don't actually feel heavy. They feel pretty light. For your average tennis running shoe, maybe they're on the heavier side, but I think compared to your average shoe, they're definitely like not huge bricks or anything, and I think they feel pretty comfortable. I think they're going to breathe well. These are both size 13s. They feel true to size to me. I'm a 13. I probably wear a wide or extra wide if it's available in most shoes, but Ultras don't offer that, but they do have different fits, and this is their classic fit, I think they call it, and that fits a wide toe box. Am I missing anything? I think that's about it. I will just say that, yeah, Ultra Via Olympus, Via Olympus 2, good shoe, worth a try if you're dealing with Hallux Rigidus and you're looking for a stiff soled walking shoe that's going to kind of minimize flex in the big toe joint, minimize upward flex in the big toe joint. I guess I will say they do have a little bit, it's not pronounced, but they do have a little bit of a rocker. So the heel strike is very small rocker. And then the toe box has a I guess, a 4-foot rocker. I think the rocker, now I got to look back, but just walking around the house in them feels very similar. Um, in terms of some rockers will start further back. Sometimes a full sole will be rockered, but um, you do feel it. You don't, and when the toe is rockered, it takes a little bit of pressure off the foot, and the big toe in particular. It doesn't have to flex as much in that push off phase. So if this was a flat sole shoe, to get that same effect, the toe would have to bend up. Where in this, you just kind of move your foot forward, and you're actually propelling yourself forward a little bit. So there's going to be a little bit of toe flex, but it's a lot smaller than your average shoe. So that's a wrap on the Via Olympus and the Via Olympus 2. Yeah, I hope you guys find this helpful for all you guys suffering managing with Hallux Limitus, Hallux Rigidus. And I'm going to be bringing more shoe reviews related to this, I'm not, and other things too, because I'm trying to stay active. I'm still motorcycling. I'm still mountain biking, and hoping to do some hiking. I've been kind of putting it on the back burner, but try some different things. And I'll also be doing some reviews of other things that are working for me: toe spacers, padding, stretches, those types of things. So stay tuned for more. And until then, be well, everybody.